In our previous episode, Matt alluded to some things that irritate him. We have done a
When
pet.
you say previous episode, that's I think pretty much any episode. Like pick one. At least Matt will lose the stuff that irritated him. We can just have a whole we can have a whole segment every week with our podcast stuff that irritates Matt.
Hold on, hold on. But he specifically stated a pet peeve. He said pet peeve. And we have done a previous episode on nutrition and fitness pet peeves. I'll link it in the notes. Uh, but since our last episode, it's been almost a year, I think, since the last pet peeve episode that I'm referring to.
It was probably brought on by like January, so like that makes sense.
Yeah, I saw a clip of from Pumping Iron where Arnold is showing back up at the gym and he's high fiving all the people like, "Oh, it's nice to see you again," and they're all just, who knows when that clip was shot. But either way, the bottom of the tag was February when all the resolutioners have left the gym. It's like, oh, and then you see all of your old friends start to show back up. They all took the month of January as their deload month. Oh man. So Matt, how did you want to start off with your pet peeves this time?
Let's do alliteration. So we say pet peeve. So I'm gonna just go right into one that I'm very tired of hearing lately. Plateau.
Oh,
I don't think that was one of them we listed before, so that's a good one. We talked a little bit off air last week about this, and a plateau. I know we've talked about plateaus before, but the way I hear it often with people is go, I plateaued. What do I need to do to jumpstart my weight loss? Because like I've talked about before, work with a lot of weight loss clients. I plateaued with my weight loss. What do I need to do to jumpstart it? It's always a good thing. And so we'll delve in. Well, have you been following your workouts? No. Have you been following your nutrition plan? Nope. Have you been doing this? Have you been, no, no, no. You know what you need to do to jumpstart that quote plateau? Follow your plan. Like if you're not following a weight loss plan and you're not losing weight, hey, that makes sense. A plateau is going to be if you're following a weight loss plan to the T and you're not seeing a change in body composition in at least a couple of weeks. Like it's not this 3 day thing of like, I haven't lost weight in a couple of days while not following a plan. That's not a plateau. But like
yeah.
also finding ways to track other than weight loss. But like I hear a lot of people right now, especially as we talk about New Year's resolutions, but a lot of people are wanting to lose weight. And so if they don't lose weight for a couple of days, well, I hit a plateau. No, you didn't, especially if you're not following a plan and not following the plan to the T.
Yeah, I completely agree. Um, by the way, our last pet peeve episode was episode 21. So that's coming, we're in the 90s now of episodes. So if you have just now tuning into Franchise enough podcast, go back and listen to all the other episodes. The links to many of them are always in the show notes, and you can go back and see all of them. We listed 10 pet peeves, and they were just gym etiquette pet peeves.
That's perfect. All right, cool.
So the weight loss plateau, we could call this one just nutrition pet peeves. Weight loss plateau, I agree with Matt that oftentimes when people tell us that their weight loss isn't functioning, something else is happening. And I always, when I have those clients and they have that question, I start with, like, tell me more. Tell me what's going
Right.
on. What's happening? What's going on? We both Matt and I come at it with from a side of gratitude and a gracious thing that we can work with you. There's something in here, like you were doing well before, something's gone off the rails. We need to kind of reevaluate where we are. Let's move back and see if we got to go back to any other steps. And sometimes, let's say that you truly have been doing everything, right? Like we go through this list of all the things you actually have been doing it and you are in a plateau. We went over this before in a previous plateau podcast. We talked about plateaus. That would take like a month of you having absolutely no changes. So
And you
If
say no changes. I think that's important too. That it's not just the scale. Like assess in
yeah,
other ways. Like because a scale can be very misleading. Because for instance, talking about plateaus, working with a client outside of franchise nutrition and fitness, got that. Hey, I plateaued. Like I'm doing everything 100% spot on, just right, cool. Like and so, like you said, like this is the great part about coaching because sometimes you don't think about stuff that's going on. Like it's great to have somebody to bounce stuff off of. And so I asked like how your bowel movement's been. She ain't had a bowel movement in a week. Like, well, where do you think that went?
that's
Oh,
not
really?
good.
Really? That could affect my weight? Yeah, yeah. Like yeah. I guarantee you go take a shit. Your
Yeah,
weight's gonna be down considerably. And guess
you
what?
need
It was.
you need a lot more water.
Yep.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's what I said. Yeah, then we of course you delve in a little bit deeper. I'm like, well, how you been doing with your water? Well, yeah, I haven't been drinking that much water. Oh, really? Yeah, could have figured that out.
yeah. You're telling me. Yeah. Most two common problems, I know it's not everybody, there's different things, but most two common problems with constipation are not enough water, one, and not enough fiber. It's usually, if you're doing both those things, there may be some other thing going on.
Yep.
Um,
Eat your fruits and veggies, your whole grains, chug some water. You're set.
right. Um, a pet peeve for me is natural sugar versus artificial sugar.
Oh, that was one up for me. Yep.
And in that category, sure there isn't an artificial, it doesn't matter. I uh, but natural occurring sugars in foods, it should be versus added sugar. So there's not an artificial sugar. Sugar is sugar, right? So like if we're looking at every carbohydrate out there is a sugar. It is a type of sugar, and that is that CHO. It's a freaking carbox. It doesn't matter. All right, I'm not going to get into okay over here with you, but sugar is sugar. How your body treats different kinds of sugar, it reacts different ways. For example, fiber is a sugar. It Your body can't digest it, so it moves it on down the chain. Um, Table sugar is one thing. Sugar commonly found in fruits is called fructose, and your body treats those two, table sugar and fructose, quite differently. However, they're both still sugar. When you get something like, let's say, apple juice, it could have added sugar, which is probably table sugar that's been added to it. Um, or it could be 100% juice with no added sugars. And they'll say it on the label, no added sugar. Honey is also a naturally occurring sugar.
So many fad diets out there. Like, hey, it's cool. Just do honey. Like honey's better than anything else. Like,
Yeah. It's carb free. No, it's not. It is not carbohydrate free. Like, I can't tell you the number of times I've had to hold my tongue when talking to cancer patients, family members, not the cancer patients themselves, but it's usually their family members who are the most like influential person for them. Say that, well, we avoid sugar because it causes cancer. It doesn't. And but we've been doing a lot of honey and other things. Like, well, a lot of honey. So you're having sugar there. It's like, no, it's honey. That is a carbohydrate. Like,
like flip over the bear. Look at the
yeah,
nutrition facts.
turn around the corner.
Sugars.
Yeah. It doesn't, and I'm not saying there's not benefits to having honey. Like there's lots of research on manuka honey, which is made from a specific pollen of a specific plant from a specific bee in a specific country, blah 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 blah. All those things. There's plenty of benefits to having honey. I don't have anything against it. I'm just saying, don't say that there's no sugar in it because
No,
it's
like
all that it is.
even if there's no benefits, honey's delightful and delicious, but like it's pure sugar.
Yeah, that's all that it is. There's like some other things out there that kind of more of the nutrient profile, not a macronutrient, but it's not it's not some magical thing that has no carbohydrates in it at all. If it did, if it was like this is sugar-free honey, I would be questioning what it is,
right?
because then it's probably some artificial sweetener or non-nutritive sweetener.
I was gonna say we talked on our list of five things last episode about gastrointestinal health. That's gonna be something that's gonna cause some gastrointestinal distress for me probably if it's sugar-free honey.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah. Oh, jeez. That's like those Haribo sugar-free bears.
Oh God. Oh, any of the sugar-free candies are
Yes.
fantastic.
Yeah, you
You want
go.
to be you want to be bloated for a week from one sugar-free Reese's peanut butter cup, you go right ahead. That's fresh in my mind because I had a couple of those a couple of days ago. I was like, jeez.
Oh, what a bad move. Uh, let's see.
So another one for me is just like we alluded to like the New Year's resolution stuff. So like the all or nothing mentality of like, hey, I was doing absolutely nothing as far as for my fitness and nutrition. I'm gonna delve right into insert thing here. Like I know we talked about like the hard 75. So like I'm literally not doing anything. I'm eating a bunch of junk food. I'm not getting enough fruits and vegetables. I'm not eating lean proteins. Like none of that stuff appeals to me. So you know what? For 75 days, I'm gonna work out twice a day. I'm gonna have to follow a specific diet, like all this crazy stuff. Like, how about you start with one simplified thing? Like, I'm gonna drink an extra cup of water a day, or I'm gonna eat an apple because I'm not eating any fruit, or I'm gonna work out once a week. Like I'm going to go for a walk for 5 minutes each day, something actually achievable, a smart goal, like we've talked about before.
Yeah, and what I most dislike about those things, and this is the thing that we do not do here at Franchise Nutrition and Fitness, is the you cannot have insert food. Like, can't have sugar. You can't have white things. You can't have so you can't have cauliflower. Like you can't have white stuff. Like can't have something. Oh, alcohol. That ends up being one too. Can't have that. At Franchise NF, if you go back and listen to our other episodes, you hear about how we enjoy adult beverages. We specifically did in
Little
the
bit, little bit.
yeah, our Christmas episode is all about adult beverages. Uh, and we're not going to say that you can't have one of those. Is it helpful for meeting your goals? Recent research suggests that if you have standard number of drinks, one for a female, two for a male, it's not going to negate your nutrition and fitness goals. This study just came out like 3 weeks ago about the whole thing. And you'll still be able, as long as you're in a calorie deficit if you're trying to lose weight, as long as you're calorie maintenance to maintain your weight, or a calorie surplus to gain weight, having that standard number of beverages, is it going to negatively impact your muscle growth? So, am I going to tell you that you can't have it? No. There's now the research further backs up my opinion. So here I am, solidified in actual evidence.
I'm all for research that solidifies my opinion.
Yeah, like in a randomized human controlled trial, it says my guess was right. But so uh, the biggest problem I see with those all or nothing mentality things that include the you can't have something ends up being that once you have passed whatever time restriction it is for it, you go all the way back to having all of the other things. And now you've negated all of the progress that you've had, or it's too much pressure and you can't keep it up and you just go all in. It's like the thing with the cheat meal days,
Yeah.
whatever, where you've been in a deficit for 6 days, but now you expended that entire deficit on day seven.
You took another pet peeve, yeah, straight from me right there. Like, because I used to have that mentality of like, be like, hey, I'm gonna eat clean or healthy or whatever, insert catch-all term here for 6 days, and then on Sundays I would go, this is a cheat day, and magically those calories didn't count. And I'd have like these like 6,000 calorie days. It's like it's fun, But like then you're just all back to having to, get rid of all of that again if you're in a weight loss phase. And it's counterproductive. Like, why not just go, hey, I'm gonna, enjoy food a little bit every day or every other day or anything. But because for me and for a lot of people, as soon as you say you can't have something, what's the absolute thing you want the most? You tell me like, hey, you're not gonna drink for a month. All of a sudden, I wasn't wanting a beer, but I want a beer right now, like because you told me I can't have.
Yeah. I frequently have patients that are told they'll be nothing by mouth. They can't eat anything at midnight this evening, right? They were like, I can't have anything to eat. Like, that's at nighttime, though. Like, that's when you're after you're asleep. You can still eat something at dinner. And all they think about is like, well, can I have this? Can I have that? Like, you can eat whatever you want. It's just eight
anytime I have
hours from now.
anytime I have surgery, I stay up until midnight the night before because I'm stuffing my face at friggin' 11:59 because I am paranoid. I'll be so friggin' hungry the next day, and I always am. I'm like the sun, and I'm like, I just want like just one drop of water.
You can have water before you have a surgery.
It's like
Like, you can
I'm not gonna
that's
friggin' vomit while I'm like, just give me some fucking water. Like,
oh, that's so yeah, so that part of the all or nothing mentality where like I can't have this, and it sets you up for failure. It's not a smart goal, like Matt said. It's not something that you're actually going to be able to achieve if you're purposefully limiting yourself something, and it's not for like you have some chronic condition and so therefore you can't have this thing, right? It's if any nutrition person out there tells you that you can't have something because it's not good for you, quote unquote, they're lying to you. They don't know what they're talking about. You know? Like there's even with people with chronic conditions, I'm going to say this as a fact, they can basically still have everything. They just have to be mindful about
right.
what and how much of it they have. It's not, I haven't come across a chronic condition that says you can't have X thing.
Yeah, like I always think of it as like for general population for like weight loss and fitness and like it's not healthy or unhealthy. It just may not be conducive to your goals in relation to something else. It may not be quote on program, but it doesn't mean it's bad, like if you're trying to cut down on sugar, it doesn't mean you can't say, oh no, I can't ever have a Reese's cup again. It's like no, like it just means that if your goal is weight loss, it's just going to be a little bit difficult, more difficult on you than if you were just like, I'm eating like nothing but fruits and vegetables. But who wants to live that way?
Yeah. Um, another nutrition. This is a thing that's come up recently. Oatmeal is bad for you. Yep. Pet peeve. Drives me nuts. Some longevity, quote unquote, person out there started some rumor that oatmeal will strip you of certain nutrients and
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
is bad for your thyroid. And so now,
This whole grain that's very bland that I do enjoy, but I have to add fruit, cinnamon stuff to make it palatable. Big
and
oatmeal, don't come after me. But yeah, I eat oatmeal every morning. Like, oh no, but it's bad for me. Oh.
yeah, I I don't know. And it's a new thing, and I realize it's only on the internet, Ryan. I am a dietitian. I have to talk to people about their food every day. Guess what I get to hear about because it's really blowing up and exploding around the internet right now? That oatmeal is bad for you.
You took a whole like
Like,
this is a microcosm of a whole pet peeve I had of like just the fact that there's so much out there right now, this misinformation, and people purposefully spreading misinformation because it's the sexy, cool thing to do. And I've talked about this before that it just makes our job and any other real professional industry's job a million times more difficult. And it makes it a million more times difficult for people who really are wanting to better themselves and to get real information because like some dipshit influencer on TikTok was like, "Hey, oatmeal bad,"
yeah, like
and 5 million people heard that, but nowhere near 5 million people heard a registered dietitian on this podcast say that that's bullshit.
yeah. And I mean, we promote this podcast, so it's not like we're not trying. But either way, there's so many people that have a high level of influence, and this is like not calling any stars out by name, but people that are like mega stars can say things and it sways opinions of so
Absolutely.
many millions of people that it is just ridiculous that you're letting somebody else's opinion affect you as if it was fact. And there's no basis for it. There was like this guy came out and said this thing about the oatmeal robbing you of these nutrients, and the randomized human control trials suggested that actually helps you with absorption of those things. It's literally the opposite of what he said. And so there's no evidence anywhere. And even when they gave people like increased volumes of oatmeal, that was the thing. So it's people have these opinions, and I don't think they're coming at it from a bad place per se, but I think they just misunderstand the science and then purport it as a fact. And that is the problem. That's where I get issues, and that's where my pet peeve comes in, because it's like that actually disagrees with the science. If it was something that's like we talked about on our last podcast, the quality of eggs. If you said, well, eggs are bad for you, I heard they raise your cholesterol, I could say, oh, well, that's the old evidence, and the new
Right.
evidence
Like
is
there
different.
used to be research out there that suggested that. Yeah. Like
But there's nothing about that with oatmeal. Nothing. Everything about oatmeal is how great it is for you. There's no research that actually suggests it's bad. So I pet peeve, huge thing,
so
especially
so 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 what in oatmeal can I not pronounce? Because there's a pet peeve of mine. If you can't pronounce it, you shouldn't eat it.
uh,
What if I'm just not like my language skills aren't great? Like what, so then I just
yeah.
can't eat anything? Like
I'll link it in the show notes, but there's a video of chemists attempting to pronounce ingredients in food,
yeah, I know the exact one
and
you're talking about. Yeah.
they have all these issues, and it's like their job to be able to monitor all these things from a chemistry perspective. And when I was in school and I had to go through chemistry, I don't know if you had to do it too, Matt, but we had to write how all these things should be spelled based
Yeah.
off of the way
Yeah.
these structures are and the number of these things. I got to
Yeah.
write it this
Yeah.
way.
This is dihydrogen bond. Yeah. Like it's just like Jesus.
It's
Yeah.
very specific. And when you get really long chemical compounds, sometimes those words are really hard to say, but the letters are all put there very specific based off of the structure. And like, for example, and I'll put a link in the show notes, if you looked up the chemicals that are in an apple, I guarantee there are chemicals that I cannot pronounce on there. I'm still going to have the apple. There's nothing wrong with having an apple. It's just
No, apples are bad.
Uh, yeah, I saw a video of a doctor say that recently, that apples are bad for you, and the person like called about it. And it's like, so where do you get that from? It's like, well, they are not the same as they used to be. They're like, okay, so why is eating an apple bad then? And it's like there's no good evidence for it. Just
Well, I
this,
know why the doctor said that because the apple a day keeps the doctor away, and he doesn't make any money. So there, it's bad. It's bad for him. Boom. Yeah,
that
you're right. Yeah.
it's very specific to him. The you eat an
apples
apple is
apples are
bad for
bad for
me.
doctors. Yeah.
Yeah.
Research suggests that apples are bad for doctors.
I'll put it in. Let me check the DOI number on that and put it in the podcast. But um, yeah, I can't think of any other ones off the top of my head that are pet peeves currently, because the nutrition space out there currently is kind of leaning towards things that I've been saying for a long time, which is kind of weird. Uh, but then,
I like that you're like. It's kind of weird that
yeah,
people are agreeing with me.
yeah, it's like I've been saying this for a while now. But the Netflix documentaries, that would be a pet peeve. That I don't even call them documentaries. It's kind of more like a docudrama. Um, Kind of like Pumping Iron, which I love, is not truly a documentary. Um, But those things, so there's a current one out there based off the twin study. You've seen this,
Yeah.
Matt? Right. So it's got a few episodes. They interview people. Even one of the lead researchers on the study complained about its misrepresentation in the Netflix thing. That they didn't say what they were supposed to be correctly, and they didn't do the things that they were supposed to do in the Netflix documentary, like drama. And what they don't show in the Netflix thing is that after the study was over, all these people just went back to being omnivores. Nobody stayed a vegan. And in it, the vegans were on like a calorie deficit. So of course they lost weight. Like it's
Right.
not like this doesn't matter what you do. If the other person's eating maintenance calories and you're eating in a deficit, of course you're going to lose more weight than they do because they're at maintenance and you're at a deficit. That's that's basic thermogenics. It's not a fun, crazy thing out there. Um, but I don't know. That's a pet peeve of mine. People that swear by something they saw, then some docudrama.
Right, like just Super Size Me is always the one I think of. Like, because so much more information's come out years later after that. It's like, hey, his blood work looks like he's an alcoholic, and like it turned out because he was an alcoholic. That's weird.
Yeah,
It's like
and
that
he
wasn't
didn't
just because you ate.
exercise at all.
Yeah, just because you ate McDonald's for 30 days. I was actually reading a story a couple of days ago about a guy who was the opposite of that, ate McDonald's every day, 3 meals a day. I think it was like for a year or something, and like lost like 60 pounds, and all of his blood work was better because he was practicing portion control. Again, going back to calories in versus calories out. He was, the high risk population for a number of different things because of obesity, because he lost weight, all those biomarkers went down. Crazy how that works
Yeah, and
through
he
portion
increases
control.
physical activity during the same time.
Yup,
So like
yup.
ended
Like
up being in a
weird,
deficit.
weird how that works.
It's surprising. Who knows? By the way, there's no like off limit foods. There's some every once in a while foods and some all the time foods, right? So my favorite burger all time is from the Vortex in Atlanta. And
Yep.
it is the black and blue burger.
Oh, that
That
one's
thing.
fantastic. There's not a burger at Vortex that I don't enjoy. I've never had like the quadruple bypass. I've only had the double
Hmm,
bypass, which is
yeah.
fantastic. But
I don't know if I could consume all of the quadruple bypass in a
yeah,
sitting.
I don't think I could either.
It's a lot. But I can tell you that the last time I had that was in 2017. And I'm not saying that you have to be that rare on things. It's just that I don't live near
Right.
the vortex. So
Yeah, God, yeah, Vortex is like 15 minutes away from me. So like, and I'm hungry right now. So
yes, and covered tots, man. Black and blue burger, covered tots. It's like a mountain of tater tots. You have to have somebody to share it with. I mean, you
see,
don't have to, I guess, but
see,
you should.
I love the Fat Elvis burger. Like peanut butter, banana, and bacon on a burger's fantastic.
I have never tried it. That isn't.
And I make those at home sometimes too. It's awesome. So good.
Yeah,
The
that's a
the sweet
bold.
the sweet and salty together. Oh,
Okay. All right. Well, those of you out there listening, what are some of your nutrition pet peeves? All of the things we did this entire podcast were our nutrition pet peeves. They're all nutrition related things. Yes, some of them are also still fitness related, but they're basically all nutrition related. What are some of your pet peeves? Let us know. Were there ones?
what are some of your favorite burgers? Like I want burger recipes now. Like
Oh yeah. Do you agree with us that the Vortex produces awesome burgers? Is there a better burger joint near you that you think we should go out and visit? We would love to do that. Either way, head on over to franchisenf.com, sign up for your free meet and greet. Like we say every week, maximize every bite.
maximize every rep.